All right, I'm going to show here how to clean up an ebook that is badly formatted. This is something I do with some frequency. I like to support independent authors who have published books themselves because I like to find new writers and I like that whole enterprise. But sometimes I wish there were a little bit more of a barrier to publishing than what there currently is. Right now, you end up with things like this that are very badly formatted. Well written. I enjoyed the story in this book, but the formatting is terrible. It's the kind of thing that would have been fixed by a traditional publisher because they have typesetters and they have editors and people like this, so that they can let the writer just focus on writing and then they can take care of all the details. A self published author is forced to do all of this himself or herself, and most of them don't really understand even that there is a problem, let alone how to fix it. The problem arises when someone writes a novel using a word processor like Microsoft Word or maybe LibreOffice, and then simply uploads that file to a server on, I don't know, Amazon or Smashwords or whatever they might use to publish their ebook. And then this server will run a conversion script and it'll say, ta-da, you've got an ebook. Well, you do, but there are issues. So I've opened this one. I've removed the author's name and changed the characters' names. I'm not interested in outing anybody in particular for this. This is more a general problem than it is one with for a specific author. And it's not necessarily even their fault. I mean, I didn't really learn how to use word processors the right way until a few years ago. And it was only after I learned how to use something completely different, LaTeX, and a bit of HTML, that I really understood what was at stake and how to use these things. You can see here there's all kinds of garbage. Um, we have here, look on the right hand side, I'm using the Caliber ebook management system here, and they've got a little ebook editor built into the program. Excuse me. You can see on the preview pane on the right hand side. I also got some construction going on in our building, so sorry about that if you hear rotten noises in the background. But you see over here only 3 words, fixing ebooks demo. So why do you see all of these other things over here? This is a prime example of what's wrong with using a word processor, or at least not understanding how to use it. This is a case where someone has used the enter key to create space. Now, this person is not the only one to do this. Most people do this because most people have no idea how to use a word processor. They might think they know how to do it, but they don't really. And so you get, this is an empty paragraph, and look at all this just garbage in here. You've got all this styling that's done inline. This is a result of what's known as direct formatting. Direct formatting is when in your word processor you select some text and you start clicking buttons to change font size and alignment and maybe the font face and things like this. And you do this to every paragraph or every little bit of text that you want to format directly rather than applying a style to it. And so these are a bunch of empty paragraphs just to make spacing. The right way to do this would just be to say, after a thing like this, put a certain amount of space. Now this is a title. This should have a class like a title class or title tags or something like this, but it's got all these empty paragraphs to provide spacing. And so to clean this up, well, actually, this one actually has a class, MSO normal, but I looked in the style sheet and there's not even an MSO normal class in there. What this says is that this person formatted this and left the text as the normal or the default class of text in the word processor rather than applying something more appropriate like text body or something like that. And so here's some more empty paragraphs to make space. And this is not the worst of the ebooks I've ever seen. It's actually, it has some things about it that are good. Like this author actually used header 1 levels, but then used a bunch of empty header 1s to make space. And I thought at first that maybe the conversion script for the website might have done the H1s, but there's so many of these empty paragraphs that it makes me think that the author, while typing a header 1, pressed enter, enter, enter after doing it, and that made a bunch of empty header 1 things. And so, this is terrible formatting. This looks like a college, uh, English 101 essay. It's double spaced. It's got these massive first line indents. And some people like the large first line indent, but to me that doesn't look like a book. It just looks like a Word document. A Word document is not a book. And so I'm going to show how you can fix this by removing a bunch of stuff from it. So the first thing I want to do is to get rid of all of the formatting for individual paragraphs. And you can see here, it says MSO class normal, but again, in the style sheet, there is no MSO normal. And so what this person has done is applied, probably as he was typing, he decided, I want the text indent to be 1/2 inch and then the line height to be 200%. That's double spaced. And you can tell in the preview pane that it looks like it's double spaced. And I could do a search and replace for this bit of text and get rid of that. But then there are others where it's not quite the same. And so I'm going to do a regular expression search for, I'm going to do style, let's see, space style equals, this is a regex search I tried a while ago that seemed to work very, very well. I'm going to get rid of all of the direct formatting on either span tags or div tags or paragraph tags, and possibly also header tag, any of the tags that has direct formatting, which is done using the style equals followed by open quotes and then whatever the styles are. These things should not be done directly in the thing right here. After the p tag, there should be at most a class equals this. That's the only thing that should be there. Or the p tag should just be empty. It should just be less than p greater than should be the beginning p tag for any normal paragraph. Any styling should be handled in the style sheet, which is this other thing right over here. This style sheet is pretty much useless. All it does is it shows all the fonts that were available in this person's computer. None of these things are used or referenced in the document. They're just there. This is terrible. I mean, this is what happens when you just upload a Word document. Now, finally, here are some stylings, but these, I'm going to delete all of this, get rid of all those stylings, and it hardly changes a thing. It should change quite a lot when I delete all the styling from a document, but it doesn't really. It changed a little bit the space between paragraphs, but that's about it. We're going to add some styling back in as we go along here. So back to this here. I'm going to remove all of the style equals whatever, and what I've done here is a dot asterisk, and that means it'll match any character, and I use the question mark, which gets rid of the greedy. If I didn't use the question mark, it might remove more than I wanted. And so this is the non-greedy matching. It'll remove everything between those quotation marks. And I have to choose in the mode. If it do normal mode, this is not going to match anything because it'll just look for a specific dot asterisk question mark thing. We have to use regular expression mode for it to use these wildcards. I'm going to just click replace all. 4,263 times it replaced stuff. And now it looks very different, doesn't it? Looky there. The paragraphs now are just normal spacing. There is no first line indent. And this is not what I want either, but we're getting there. First, you have to get rid of the bad stuff before you can start adding the good stuff in. Now, this MSO normal thing is also useless, so I'm going to search for that and replace it with nothing. I'm going to use a normal search there. Replace all 3,878 times. I did that. So we're getting there. I also want to remove empty paragraphs. This is an empty paragraph right here where the P tags with only a space in between. And there's actually it could be, I don't know if it's like a space bar space or some other kind of space, like a non-breaking space. So I'm going to use regex and use the special character to match space. That's the \S. And Okay, 239 empty paragraphs were just removed. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna just take every paragraph tag and remove all of that crap from it. Okay, I'm gonna go here, P dot asterisk question mark, and then replace it with just P. Replace all. Or that, oh my gosh, look at that. So, we have here more, let's see, what else? How can I find more of these empty paragraph ones? There's still more of these, and they cause problems sometimes. What I want is, I'm looking for, okay, so here is an example of paragraph. What I'm going to do, I do want some of these paragraphs to have first line indent, but I don't want all of them to. Normally, the normal practice for the first paragraph in a chapter or a new section is not indented on the first line, whereas all the subsequent ones are. And you could solve this by having a separate class for the first paragraph of a section. And some people do that. That works fine. But one of my buddies who's a web developer showed me a really cool trick that will allow you to look for siblings. And so what you can do is tell it anytime there's an H1, make the next paragraph after that not indented. Or you can apply whatever styles you want. But what it'll do is only match things that come right after whatever you say. Oh my gosh, here's a bunch of empty H1 things. Let's search for those too. That's awful. See, this is what you get when you have what you see is what you get editors are the things that cause the problems, because people worry too much about how stuff looks instead of what it is. They should be worried about how it functions, not about how it looks. How it looks is something that can be fixed later. Okay, we're getting there. Let's apply a little bit of styling to the paragraphs. I'm going to reduce I have my own style sheet here that I like to use, and I'm going to do this a little bit one at a time here. Actually, for the headers, let's do a couple. I'm going to do the body text and the headers first. These are the styles I like. People have different preferences about styles, and that's totally fine. These are the ones I like to do. Now notice when I put this in there, it's going to change a few things. What happened to my chapter 2? Here it is. Okay, it's changed the font face for the chapter heading. And notice here how there is no empty paragraph in between this paragraph and the chapter heading. That space, that extra space between the words chapter 2 and the beginning of that paragraph are supplied here, where I say margin is 2 EM on the top, 0 on the right, 3 EM on the bottom, and then 0 on the left. So that has a 2 EM margin above it, 3 EM below, and then it centers it. Okay, so that's how I like that. Now, here's the really cool thing that we can do. I want the first paragraph of each of these chapters and section headings, or new sections, to be aligned, well, no first line indent, and then all of the subsequent ones to have an indent. First, let's apply some paragraph styling to get all the main style for the paragraphs. These are the settings I like to have by default on a paragraph. Here. So I like to have a line height of 1.25, margins of 0.1 EM margin on top and on the bottom will make the space between the paragraphs the way I like it. And then there is a text indent of 1 EM. EM is a unit of measurement, by the way, here. Okay, so to me, this is starting to look like a book now. But what I want to do now is make it so that the first paragraph in the chapter is not indented. And here is the trick for that. I'll come back to my text editor for a sec. What you do is do H1 plus P, and I've gone ahead and added a couple of other things to it here. I've added header 2, header 3, and horizontal rules, because a horizontal rule is often used to separate one section from another. We go into the style sheet and watch what happens to the first thing when I do. Look at that. That first line has moved over because it is a paragraph right after a chapter heading, but the next one did not move over. Isn't that clever? That is one of the coolest tricks I've learned in CSS in a while. This saves you from having to have a separate class for your first paragraph. Now, there was another thing that's kind of annoying in this book, and that is these things right here. These are section breaks. Oh man, there's more empty paragraphs. See, the empty paragraphs are going to mess things up because I want to have a horizontal rule with a sibling rule in the CSS that will tell it after a horizontal rule, make the next paragraph not have a first line indent. But if there's an empty paragraph there, it's going to mess everything up. So I'm going to fix that. I thought I'd fixed all those, but this one must be something different. I don't really know. 9 times. Okay. It looks like it replaced that one. Let's go back here. Okay, I want to replace any of these things, these 4 asterisks as a paragraph. I'm going to replace this with a horizontal rule. I wonder if I have to escape that. Let's see. No, I didn't have to. I'm going to undo that and do it again. Sometimes you have to escape these forward slashes, but it looks like in this case you don't have to. Let's do it again. Okay, that did it 90 times. And now, let's look here. Okay, the horizontal rule, that's pretty ugly right now. It's a straight line all the way across the screen. So I'm going to add my horizontal rule styling from my basic ebook style sheet over here. I want it to have a width of 30% of the screen and then a margin of 2 on top and bottom. And that will give it a little bit of separation there. So add this. And that looks much better. So a horizontal rule is not necessarily the best thing to use for a section separator, but to me it's better than using a series of asterisks as a paragraph, because those just, I mean, a horizontal rule actually has a semantic meaning. It means that there's a break there, whereas the asterisks are just some randomly chosen character that are used. At worst with the, or at best with the asterisk, you should have that a separate paragraph class called section break or something like that, and then apply some styling rules that will make sense for that. But notice that the horizontal rule is in place and the first paragraph after that is not indented. And that is exactly what I want. Okay, I don't know if there's anything else that I want to do here. There are... This is the kind of thing this is a good story. I really like the story, but the formatting was driving me crazy. I really cannot read a book if the formatting is really ugly to me. I have to fix it, and thankfully I know how to do that, or else it would just really drive me batty. I guess that's probably about it. Now, if you are an ebook author and your books are, if someone opened up your book and found all this garbage in there, there are things you can do to mitigate that. I should say, not every self-published author has this problem. There are some that do a really good job. In fact, I'm going to brag on one right here, a guy that I really like named Nathan Lowell. His ebooks are beautifully formatted. They're better than many of the trade publication books. When you open up one of his ebooks, when I open one of this, I only have to change 2 things in his style sheet, and it's exactly the way I want it. And those are, I feel like his first line indents are larger than I want. And this one I've already changed it. He has a first line indent, I think by default, of about 5 spaces or 5 EM or something like that. And I like it at 1 EM. And also I believe the text was fully justified. So I changed 2 values in his style sheet, and then it's like I like it. You look at his paragraphs right here, and you can see that he has a class for first paragraphs, so that he's handled it the way I described before, where there's a separate class for first paragraphs than there is for default paragraphs. And look at that. Look how clean. All he has for a regular paragraph a P tag. Any styling that he wants to apply to that is done in the style sheet. That's how it ought to be. Now, I know that Nathan Lowell is, he's more tech savvy than most authors, I think. I've heard that he uses LaTeX at least to format the print versions of his books, and I suspect that he's pretty comfortable using HTML. But I also suspect that he understands how to use a word processor. And this is where everyone else who publishes books from a word processor file can also do this. The key is to use styles rather than direct formatting when you are formatting your book. And there are many video tutorials available on YouTube. I actually have one myself that I showed how to use styles instead of direct formatting, and you could watch that and figure it out. But if you consistently use styles in your word processor document, whether it's on MS Word or LibreOffice, then you can produce a fairly decent ebook from that. I've done it just as a proof of concept. I mean, in my own ebooks, I start with HTML just because an ebook itself is HTML when you open it up, and I figure I might as well just use HTML to start with. If you're not comfortable with that, I get it. Not everybody is. But by starting with a good, solid word processor document that is done using styles, you can eliminate a whole lot of the problems that come up in these kinds of books. All right, I've probably blabbed long enough. That's it for now. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.